Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to Abnormal Voyages. My name is David, and today we find ourselves in the great state of Nebraska. More specifically, we are in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I am standing in front of the state capitol building. Now, Nebraska was founded in 1867 and is famously called the Cornhusker State. Now, this may not be the first state that comes to mind when you're running off on vacation or finding somewhere new to visit, but maybe it should be. There are a lot of amazing things in this state, and today I'm going to show you a few of them. So, let's get started. Please, come tag along.
We're going to a place that you've never heard of before. It's Abnormal Voyages. You're gonna learn something new. We're gonna open new doors. It's Abnormal Voyages.
The Nebraska Capitol building was built over a period of 10 years, from 1922 to 1932. It's actually considered an architectural masterpiece and stands an astounding 400 feet tall. This makes it the second tallest Capitol building in the entire country. The Louisiana one was built deliberately a little bit higher so that they could have the tallest. Inside, you're going to find stunning works of art all about this agricultural heavy state. My personal favorite piece of art happened to be in the flooring of the rotunda. It showcased some of the prehistoric and ancient history of Nebraska, all interlinked with the different animals and creatures that used to call this land home. And then after checking out the ground floor, it was time to jump in an elevator and head up. And now we're about 14 stories up at the very height of the Capitol building. Looking out, we can see all of Nebraska laid out in front of us. And you know what? I think I see our next location right over there. We now find ourselves in Elgin, Nebraska. We're here at an amazing collection that anybody driving by can visit. This is Bells of the Prairie. There was a nice gentleman here who actually has been collecting bells since way back in the 70s. He has an impressive collection, up to about 100 out here, and we've been told about double that off display. They're out here for anyone who'd like to come by and get their belly full of bells. It's incredible how many different collections there are out there in the world of things that most people wouldn't even think to collect. The bells here represent decades upon decades of history. Almost all of the bells out here were rescued from buildings that were either being torn down or renovated and no longer wanted to have the bell. Some of these are from firehouses, some of these come from old schools, some of them are simply a family's dinner gong that was meant to bring in all the family that was working out in the fields. These resilient and beautiful bells have all found a second life here on display, just hanging out, waiting to be used for whatever somebody may need a bell for. I think here, on a small, quiet street in Nebraska, happens to be the perfect place for a collection like this. Somehow, grouped all together, this just feels like a little slice of Americana. In today's world, with increasing digital alarms and reminders, bells don't quite have as many uses as they used to. But thankfully, we have people like this that are willing to preserve them and still have them here for everyone to enjoy and remember their past. As the famous quote goes, "Ask not for who the bell tolls, it tolls for thee." And today, it tolls for us to move on to our next Nebraska location. Truth be told, the Nebraska area has had amazing things for tens of thousands of years. To show you an example of this, we are at agate fossil beds, where we can see some of the prehistoric creatures that used to roam these lands. Now, the specific section that we're going to be looking at inside of here is the site of a former water hole. This was kind of the center of an animal's life back then, because of course everybody needs water. So it was a great place to study and get a great idea of how things used to be in the prehistoric Nebraska days. Large sections of this former water hole had plenty of different bones to look at and analyze. Due to this, they now know what lived around here. One such example was this little guy who was a prehistoric rhino. Of course, we don't have any rhinos in the United States now, at least not naturally, but back in the day, this is where they were. They've even recovered some tracks from these little rhinos. Now, they do believe they were much smaller than today's rhinos, but in my opinion, that just makes them cuter. There was also ancient camels in this area. They honestly look a little more like alpaca or llamas to me, but the experts say camel, so I'm gonna go with that. And then the bear dogs were one of my favorite. They had some very large bones, and they actually enjoyed burrowing, so they found some of those remains in burrows where they actually lived underground, and often hung out right here at the water hole, because where else would be better to pick up a quick meal than where all the other animals were hanging out. They continue to excavate and find more fossils in this Nebraska area every day. So who knows what new natural wonders we may find right here underneath the ground. But for something a little more modern day, we now wave goodbye to the fossils and hit the road. Welcome to Potter, Nebraska. We are here for something very special. This is one of the last few remaining of this particular thing. Come upstairs and check it out with me. Come on in. This is a duck pen bowling alley. Now, duck pin bowling is very similar to regular bowling, but there are a few key differences. Main one is going to be the pins are much smaller. They are short and squat. They're definitely heavier than candle pin bowling, and these are kind of where it gets the name duck pin bowling. Second difference is going to be the actual bowling balls. These two, much smaller, still pretty heavy, but they go along very well with the pins. Now, the rules are the same as regular bowling, besides the miniature sizes here, but funny enough, it tends to be a harder game, as there has still never been a recorded and certified perfect 300 game in duck pin bowling. The closest anybody has ever come is 279 points scored in 1992. They even had some of the original duck pin bowling rules and advertisements set up on the walls. This gives you a good idea of the subtle differences that differentiate duck pin bowling from other kinds of bowling. Very interesting to learn about for sure. So this is a very old school, old-fashioned bowling alley. So there's not really any automation here. And I'll show you what I'm talking about after we do our first rolls. So we're gonna give this a shot. Okay, so like regular bowling, you have had your ball go down, you hopefully hit a decent amount of pins, and then they have that nice machine that comes down, puts all the pins back, and you're ready to go. Here, it's a little different. Show me, come this way and I'll show you what I mean. Now, if you saw our previous episode at the Bowling Hall of Fame, we talked a little bit about this, and that there were pin boys. So there would be somebody sitting right up here. The ball would come down, the pins would do what they may, and then this person would jump down and reset all of the pins right back up so that the next bowler was able to go. Not only that, but they would retrieve your ball and they would place it right here, and it would be on its way back to you, ready for your next throw down the alley. And after a few games, it's time that we strike out to our next location. Like many places, if you just stop and look around, often you're going to find something worth seeing. That is definitely the case here in Grand Island, Nebraska, where on the side of the road, you may look over and see Fred's Flying Circus. Now, unfortunately, Fred is no longer with us, but his art still stands here as a testament to his life. And what incredible vehicle-based art it is. Fred owned a body shop and actually spent most of his life working on cars and creating custom motorcycles. But shortly after he retired, he came across a car that reminded him so much of Mater from Disney Pixar Cars, he decided he was going to make his own. So he painted it up in his own style and named it the Peppermint Kid as an homage to Mater, and then stuck it up on a post. From there, it wasn't long before he started finding other vehicles that he could turn into lots of different original characters and some pop culture favorites. The more you look around, the more you see. There is so much detail in every single one of these, and great characters in every single one of them. And though Fred himself has passed on, his family wants to keep all of the art here, and they continue the body shop as well. So hopefully, we'll be able to look up and see Shrek riding along through the sky for many, many generations to come. As amazing as this flying circus is, it's not the only major art installation in Nebraska that's focused on cars. Come check it out. Many of the wonders in Nebraska are either historical or natural, but there's a few quirky things thrown in there, such as where we are now here in Alliance. Now, you may be familiar with the world-famous Stonehenge, but right behind it, America has their own version, Carhenge. This glorious monument was created by Jim Reinders when he decided that he wanted to build a Stonehenge West. But he wanted to put his own twist on it, so he figured cars were about the same shape as those famous rocks at the original Stonehenge. So, during one of his family reunions back in 1987, they took about 6 days to construct Carhenge. Now, the original Stonehenge took about 10,000 years, so Jim likes to say, we shortened the time by 9,999 years and 51 weeks. It certainly is quite a testament that he was able to put this together so fast with his family, and it just shows you that putting wheels on your construction equipment tends to get things moving a little bit quicker. Though all of these cars have been painted the same color to kind of resemble rocks to give you that real Stonehenge feel, they are complete vehicles. And if you're interested in knowing exactly what cars they each are, they have a small plaque over on the side that points out exactly what make and model that exact car was. Then beyond Carhenge, there are a few other car-based works of art out here, such as this fierce car monster coming up out of the sand. We've got a dinosaur, and you can even stop by to pay your respects at the grave of foreign cars. While Detroit slept, they made good cars, but now that Detroit's awake, America is great again, it says. If you'd like to rest, you can come over here and have a stay at the Ford Seasons. I love that they incorporate puns into a lot of the things out here. And then a little further along, you can see a time capsule that has been buried here with this car. It's the 20th century capsule. It was buried on June 21st, 2003, and will be opened June 21st of 2053. So mark that down, and we'll be sure to meet you there. Before you leave Carhenge, make sure you come by and sign your name on this wonderful car here. Always good to leave your mark in the places you've been. Carhenge is a very popular place and has certainly shown up in quite a few pop culture references. So it's really neat seeing it in person. But now, we head to one of our last Nebraska locations. We now find ourselves at Scottsbluff National Monument. Now, this was a very important spot for those who were traveling the Oregon Trail. Not only that, but this was a very popular destination for the Mormons who were heading this way on their mass exodus to Salt Lake City. It's a gorgeous place. It's awesome that it's preserved here today. So I think we're gonna go ahead and head up and see what the views look like. After about 1.5 miles of some very scenic trails, we're really close to the top, so I proudly present to you Scotts Bluffs. It's always incredible and awe-inspiring seeing natural beauty like this, but there was that extra element here of just thinking back in the days of the Oregon Trail and people striking out west for the first time. What were they thinking? The journey was tough, but I hope that they were thinking it was absolutely worth it to have a new life. And now we end our tour of Nebraska at one of its most iconic sites, Chimney Rock. Well, that's all the time we have for today. If you enjoyed this, make sure you hit that like button, comment below where you'd like to see us go next, and make sure you subscribe so you can follow along on all of our upcoming adventures. All of it really helps us out, and if you want to give us a little continued support, you can also check out our Patreon. Link is going to be below. You can get awesome things such as a postcard in the mail every single month from somewhere we've been. My name is David, and this has been Abnormal Voyages. Thanks for tagging along. See you in the next one.